First at 5. From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
A major snowfall hits New York State with up to 4 feet of snow expected. Here you see the squall line marching in as the snowstorm swallows the city of Buffalo. Good evening and welcome to WUFT News First at 5. I'm Fareeha Abrar.
And I'm Jameshia Carroll. Thanks for joining us.
You know, I really could not muster up the energy to get up from bed this morning. It was just too cold.
You're so right. I can't stand the freezing temperatures either. And you're not the only one. The Northeast and Midwest woke up this morning to the middle of a thunder snowstorm. Gloria Pazmino is in Buffalo, New York, where the snow is piling up on the roads.
Heavy lake-effect snow is beginning to cover areas surrounding the Great Lakes as a potentially historic storm settles over western New York, expected to dump more than 4 feet over the next 3 days.
That level of snow coming down with that intensity was what creates the dangerousness.
Areas east of Lake Erie and Ontario could see as much as 3 inches of snowfall per hour, along with lightning and strong winds. Schools are closed, and many businesses are either closed or switching to remote Friday. Even with the warnings, some residents don't seem too alarmed.
We live in Buffalo. It's expected.
But authorities are urging people not to get complacent.
You know, our biggest enemy here for the next 48 to 72 hours is a lack of common sense.
Hundreds of snowplows, generators, and thousands of utility workers and tons of salt, all on standby as communities hunker down for a potentially long and cold weekend.
My kids are cooking this year, so I'm going to stack the freezer with the children's food.
In Buffalo, New York, I'm Gloria Pazmino.
The northern and midwestern snowstorms are causing delays and issues for almost everyone, including the Buffalo Bills.
That's right. They changed their game plans ahead of Sunday's football game. WUFT sports reporter Julianna Reichenbach joins us now to tell us more about the upcoming game against the Cleveland Browns. So what's going on with Sunday's game?
Guys, the intense snow forced them to move the game to Detroit. The decision to move the game from Highmark Stadium in Orchard Park, New York, was done in consultation with the Buffalo Bills and local and state authorities as the region prepares for the storm. Public safety concerns and an abundance of caution forced the late decision. The game is still scheduled to be played at 1 p.m. on Sunday. The Bills plan to provide fans information if they bought a ticket to the game, originally scheduled to be played at home. The Buffalo Bills chose Detroit so the teams can scout out the stadium before playing the Lions on Thanksgiving. I'll have more coming up on sports in just a bit. For now, back to the anchors.
Thanks, Juliana. And while we aren't getting any snow here in Florida, the weather is still getting pretty cold outside, at least cold enough for me to get a winter coat out.
I just hope it doesn't affect my weekend.
Well, thankfully, WUFT's Julia Haley joins us now with the weather forecast. Julia, what kind of weather should we expect this weekend?
Well, it's an absolutely chilly Friday as we're currently tracking this cold front approaching North Florida very soon. Now, we do have a high pressure system. This is bringing some northerly polar winds into our area a little later this weekend. But we are currently seeing a good amount of snow and snowstorms toward the northeast as we do have that cold front pushing toward the east coast. Now, if you are outside of our studio currently seeing those blue skies, 60 degrees, feels like 57 due to those northerly winds outside, and outside of the Ben Hill Griffin Stadium looking absolutely beautiful. Now for your Friday evening, expect to drop through the 50s, cooling down as that cold front approaches us very slowly. Those clouds rolling in throughout your night at around midnight. Now our temperatures are dropping a little bit lower into the 40s and even the 30s. We do have a chance for frost just north of I-10. So 41 is our low for Gainesville, 44 Ocala, 38 High Springs, 36 Lake City, 35 even for Live Oak, as we see that frost travel all throughout North Florida. Back to you.
Thanks, Julia. UF blames new vandalism outside the Institute of the Black Culture on a repeat offender. UF police say surveillance footage led to the charges against 27-year-old Marville Blair for uprooting the sign outside the Institute. He was previously charged and convicted of damaging the same sign. UF says he is not a student, nor was a staffer, and was issued trespass warnings last year.
Thanksgiving is less than a week away, and you've probably noticed that this year is going to be a bit more expensive than normal. As grocery prices continue to rise, so is the cost of turkey. Siobhan McGrill has more on how inflation is affecting turkey farms and what you can expect at checkout.
For the last 25 years at Econ Hill Turkey Farm, this week before Thanksgiving has been known to be nonstop.
Oh, it's definitely the busiest week of the year.
That holds true. But the one thing setting this year apart?
More than anything, the thing that's affecting our business is the inflation, the cost of our inputs. Our feed is up 60%. 60. Fertilizer's up 280%. 280% is like off the charts. It's hard to even comprehend.
With that in mind, the family debated over how much to raise their prices, settling on a 9% increase this year for a turkey. But even with that price jump, their costs are still up more than revenue.
So we're gonna take a hit this year.
Nationwide, the cost of a turkey is up about 21%. Experts say an avian flu outbreak played some part, forcing a smaller stock of turkeys this year. But it's not just turkey that's more expensive, it's the trimmings too.
The price of every single item, and especially the grocery items, have gone up significantly. This year, the Thanksgiving meal is going to cost us at least 20% more than last year.
Despite higher prices, a nationwide survey found the majority of people say turkey is a non-negotiable, still planning to buy the Thanksgiving centerpiece. And that is good news for local farms. Like here at Econ Hill, they expect to sell 4,000 turkeys between now and Christmas.
This year we raised a few more birds, so we haven't sold out yet, but we're a little ahead of last year on orders. We're finding we're busier than ever with turkeys.
It's no joke, the holiday season is the busiest time of year for some of us, and with increasingly expensive grocery trips, a local organization is doing its part to give back this Thanksgiving. Bread of the Mighty is a local food bank that provides services to 5 counties in north central Florida. The nonprofit distributes food and basic essentials, and the importance of the holiday is not lost on its workers, who say they love the opportunity to help the community.
Thanksgiving is such an important time in American culture where a lot of parents that are struggling feel like they need to put that traditional Thanksgiving meal on the table, and if they don't, it's very noticeable. You know, Christmas is about presents, but Thanksgiving's really about the food. So having that traditional food there is so important, and just is such a motivational thing for people to be able to provide that for their families. So for us to be able to help with that is really part of our motivation and mission.
Bread of the Mighty thrives on monetary donations, which help cover shipping costs. Visit breadofthemighty.org to donate and find out more information.
The average flight costs have increased nearly 21% over the second quarter of 2022. But despite this dramatic uptick, 54.6 million people are still expected to travel for Thanksgiving. All of this adds up to a tough question you and your family might be discussing right now. Can you afford to travel this holiday season? Kansas City reporter Jeon Kim heard from people facing these difficult decisions.
The airfare prices are just skyrocketing.
The cost of airfare has ballooned prohibitively.
It seems we're always paying a little extra for everything these days, and airfare is no exception.
Trying to get anywhere nowadays seems a little bit ridiculous, to the point where I was debating if I wanted to take the 8-hour drive down here from Chicago instead of actually taking a flight.
After mulling over her options, Christine Rogers decided to fly this time. But she tells me for Christmas, her family of 4 will definitely drive to Florida. Total airfare is $700 more compared to their last trip.
Actually, I travel for work. I'm an event planner, so just seeing the money go out kind of takes away from everything else that we need to do for an industry, as well as just home budgeting, and really not making you want to travel and missing those people that you're used to seeing, especially post-pandemic.
Data shows the Rogers are not alone. According to AAA, more than 1.4 million travelers are expected to travel by bus, train, or cruise ship. One thing's for certain, being with family matters during the holidays.
You have to prioritize and make it happen.
We're on the worst end of things.
I sat down with local travel agent Dion Anderson. She says clients aren't happy about the high prices, but demand is still up 70% at her agency. So here are her biggest advice to save some money. 1, consider flying out of a different airport. Drive instead. Get to your destination early and stay later. Book directly with the airlines, and most importantly, book early.
Years ago, closer to departure used to mean last-minute savings. It really doesn't mean that anymore. Sometimes you might get lucky, but more often than not, especially now, prices just increase the closer to departure you are. Because the other problem is not only the airfare pricing, but its availability.
Jameshia, have you decided your Thanksgiving plans yet?
I'm just heading back to Jack's to see my family. What about you?
I'm probably also going back to Jack's to see my family. And Julia, who's also from the 904, will be back later with more on what weather we all can expect. And though the World Cup is joining the holiday season this cycle, one key item is a late scratch from the party menu. The decision is a buzzkill for soccer fans, and we'll tell you more about it when First at 5 returns.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Welcome back. A special counsel will take over 2 investigations at the Department of Justice involving former President Donald Trump. He could potentially be charged in either case or both. First, there's his conduct around the January 6th Capitol riot, and then there's the issue of taking sensitive documents home to Mar-a-Lago. Attorney General Merrick Garland made the announcement today, naming longtime prosecutor Jack Smith. Now that Trump is running for president again, Garland says it's in the public interest to have a special prosecutor take over.
Today, a federal judge in Tallahassee blocked the new Florida law known as the Stop Woke Act. The law was designed to ban the promotion of certain ideas that touch on race, from critical race theory to affirmative action. The ruling comes from federal judge Mark Walker. In a separate lawsuit, he previously blocked the law from impacting businesses. When it comes to free speech at colleges, he says the new law limits would be, quote, positively dystopian. In his ruling, he said a law school class couldn't even stage a debate on the merits of affirmative action if one side was tasked with promoting the concept.
The World Cup begins in just 2 days in Qatar. However, the host country suddenly changed its mind about allowing alcohol sales at the stadiums. The decision comes as a blow to one of the event's largest sponsors, Budweiser. Only non-alcoholic Bud Zero will be allowed inside the 8 stadiums, but there will be some fan zones where beer can be sold. Champagne, wine, whiskey, and other alcohol will only be sold in hotels. Budweiser at first tweeted, "Well, this is awkward," before its parent company sent out a more formal statement citing circumstances beyond our control.
The approaching holiday season means we're anticipating gifts, like Charlie's golden ticket to the chocolate factory. But one ticket that could be a popular gift this year is to Taylor Swift's Eras World Tour. However, that might be a difficult task for some, as Ticketmaster announced it is canceling the public sale of the tour tickets. Earlier this week, fans experienced long wait times and a number of site outages on Ticketmaster. The website claimed there was a high demand for verified fan presale tickets and selling more than 2 million tickets as the reasons they are canceling the public sale.
You know, we've had a chilly couple of days here in Gainesville, and I'm really hoping we're going to warm up soon.
Julia, what can you tell us about what to expect?
Well, below average temperatures for this weekend and a chance for frost tomorrow morning. Will we be warming up by Thanksgiving? I'm Julia Haley with your full forecast in a few minutes.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Started off with a chilly Friday, below average temperatures all over north central Florida. 59 Gainesville, 61 Ocala, 62 the Villages, 56 Palatka, 58 Jacksonville, and 57 for Live Oak. Outside of our studio, currently seeing that beautiful sunset outside, perfect for fall. 59 degrees, feels like 57 due to those northerly winds outside. And starting off in the lower 50s this evening and dropping into the lower 40s as we do have those northerly winds bringing some polar air masses to our area. So we do have frost possible for our Saturday morning. Those lows sitting almost freezing, 36 Lake City, 35 Live Oak. If you live just north of I-10, you will probably see some frost in the morning. 41 is our low for Gainesville. And here in Alachua County, 42 Micanopy and Waldo, 37 for Brooker, and those northerly winds bringing just a little bit warmer temperatures to Marion, 44 Ocala and Bellevue, 47 for the Villages. Now, if you are staying in Gainesville to tailgate, we do have those lows rising from the upper 30s into the 40s and then into the 50s. Below average temperatures for your tailgate around kickoff, and that cloud coverage lasting throughout the evening and into the night. So this weekend, below average temperatures are going to stay just a little bit longer due to this jet stream bringing some polar air toward our area here in north central Florida, and some snow as well toward the northeast. So we do have a cold front that is bringing that cold air toward our area, that chance for precipitation here in north central Florida. This high pressure system helping to propel that air toward us here in Gainesville, lasting throughout the weekend. So chilly temperatures all weekend. Now take a look at your weekend forecast. High of 61 for your Saturday and a high of 56 for your Sunday. Still pretty chilly out there and staying that way. So what to expect? We have that chance for frost just north of I-10. Below average temperatures for the weekend, and cloudy skies are going to last due to that cold front arriving to our area. So seeing that below average day for both Saturday and Sunday. Cloudy skies, chance for rain on Sunday, and then warming up just in time for Thanksgiving into the 70s. Back to you.
Thanks, Julia. Jameshia, what are you planning on doing this weekend?
I'm thinking of heading to the O-Dome to watch the women's volleyball match. I heard that they might become champions.
Hopefully. And after the break, Julianna Reichenbach will have your full sports report.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Welcome to sports. I'm Julianna Reichenbach. Both Gator men's and women's basketball are coming off their first losses of the season. Tonight, they look for redemption. And the men's squad has a great opportunity against FSU. Florida hasn't beaten the Seminoles in Tallahassee since 2012. In the loss against FAU Monday, the Gators struggled to shoot at the rim, going 13 for 36, which UF head coach Todd Golden simply says is very bad. The first-year Florida coach says the Gators have got to be stronger at the rim, especially against FSU.
Their personnel is limited, but they have good players. You know, they have 6 or 7 really good athletic, long, rim-protecting type defenders, and they've been a good 2-point percentage defense so far this year. But getting to the line is a way to offset some of those, that lower finishing percentage.
The Gators tip off against FSU at 8 p.m. You can watch the game on the ACC network. Meanwhile, the Gator women's basketball team already squandered its chance against FSU, losing 92-77. They return to the O-Dome tonight to face Bethune-Cookman at 6 p.m. The number 10 Gator volleyball team has a huge weekend ahead of them. By Sunday, they could be SEC champs. And to do so, the Gators will have to sweep number 18 Kentucky. Florida and Kentucky are currently tied for first in the SEC at 12-2 in conference play. While it may be surprising, the last time the Gators won an outright SEC championship was in 2014. First service at for 4 p.m. Saturday and 2 p.m. Sunday. In the meantime, Florida football looks to keep a streak going against the Vanderbilt Commodores. The Gators haven't lost to Nashville since 1988. Plus, they've won their last 2 against Texas A&M and South Carolina. Last Saturday, Florida beat the Gamecocks 38-6. And those are the only 6 points the Gators have allowed in the last 6 quarters. But Vanderbilt is coming off a big win. The 4-6 Commodores beat Kentucky last weekend to keep their bowl hopes alive. Therefore, Florida head coach Billy Napier predicts Vanderbilt will be more motivated. Quarterback Anthony Richardson and the Gators will have a chilly noon start in Nashville. You can tune in to the game on the SEC network. A lot of area teams are playing tonight. Buell's and Crestview going at 7:30 p.m. Now we're going to go back to the desk.
Thanks, Juliana. And before we go, one last check on the weather.
If you're staying in
While the Gators away, we are currently expecting some below average temperatures around the 60s, cloud coverage lasting throughout the afternoon and even into the evening. So below average for both Saturday and Sunday, expecting a chance for showers on Sunday, and then rising into the 70s just in time for Thanksgiving with a chance for showers on Tuesday and even on Thanksgiving. Back to you.
Thanks, Julia. BBC World News is up next, and the PBS News Hour is coming up at 7.
But your Florida news is always on at WUFT.org. Have a good night.